I'm going to go ahead and let you guys start.
All right.
Well, it's so nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, we're officially live. I guess on our end, Janie, this is the wellness seminar sponsored by Health Bank Dow. We're very excited to have you on and hear your story. My name is Dr. Eric Krueger. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I work out of an outpatient sports clinic in Minnesota, and I also run an online business called The Pursuit Outdoor Performance. So the biggest thing that I like to do is how do we connect with like-minded professionals like yourself, like Johnny, like Sean, and especially with the wellness seminar, helping people level up their pursuits. I think that's the big thing. I'm going to turn it over to Sean to give a quick introduction. Then we're going to steal one from you.
Yes, my name is Sean Chambers. I'm from the Gulf Coast. I'm an entrepreneur. Been entrepreneur for about almost 10 years now in the wellness industry. Started a tea company, morphed it into a wellness distribution company, and now I'm starting to get into Web3 blockchain and starting to create the health world with Health Bank. So we're really excited.
Awesome. So I guess I'll share a little bit about myself. My name is Janie Stel. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am a business professional, entrepreneur, and professional athlete in calisthenics. I first got into calisthenics 4 years ago. I had 10 years of competitive gymnastics training prior, and calisthenics just absolutely changed my way of thinking about body movement and gymnastics and how we should approach body weight training and competing in freestyle competitions. So I went to the University of Guelph and got my degree in Bachelor of Commerce. So I'm a business professional now. And kind of combining my two worlds together, I started the Women's Calisthenics Organization. It combined kind of my passion for business and calisthenics and my passion for helping women get into the sport of calisthenics, because it is a very male-dominated sport. And as a gymnast myself, I know the potential that female athletes have. And so I'm trying to get as many females into the sport as possible through competitions, resources, my training app, and other opportunities as they come along. And that's where blockchain comes in and hopefully help sponsor and provide funding that the nonprofit organization needs to continue providing opportunities for women to get involved in this amazing upcoming sport.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's such a unique perspective, and why we're so excited to have you on is being such a male-dominated sport, having that female presence, and especially with your business prowess, I think is going to be such an amazing thing. How did you stumble upon blockchain? Like where did you find that first on that side of things?
TikTok. I've been watching Gary Vee and other NFT influencers and blockchain influencers on TikTok for a while now. I started to invest in Bitcoin when I was in high school, just out of curiosity for it. And then I had ran into Johnny at the Battle of the Bars World Calisthenics Organization competition, and he got me talking, and then I took his course on blockchain, which was fantastic. If you're interested in learning about blockchain, definitely check out Johnny's course on learning all about blockchain. And that's how I kind of got more into that. I'm still learning. I'm very new to this space still, but I definitely have ideas on how we can apply it to the real world.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to my journey too. And I love it because I think we, again, can all thank Johnny for giving us kind of that push into the Web3 world. What are some of those big ideas that, if you can talk about them, you're looking to merge from that blockchain space with health? Because the biggest thing that we're all here for is health.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, calisthenics promotes healthy lifestyle, all of that, functional fitness, accessible fitness. Anywhere that you go, you can do calisthenics. It doesn't matter if you have money or don't have money, have access to a gym. If you're in the middle of nowhere, everyone can do calisthenics. So it's kind of bringing fitness more accessible to everyone. And then bringing that into blockchain is, I see opportunities for my organization to tokenize our, board of directors and having influence on how the organization is run and where we have competitions, who's going to compete at them, sponsors, setups, and just giving out loyalty to people who are initially invested in helping this organization grow over the next 20 to 50 years.
Yeah, that is amazing. I think the biggest thing that I took from that is, like you said, having an ability to hold people accountable, which, as we're seeing with today, the unveiling of the Health Bank DAO side of things, I think is going to be such a big thing. Are you guys looking to push a certification as well, especially for that female end of things? And is that going to be on the blockchain?
What did you mean by certification?
I think the biggest thing from a certification standpoint that I'm looking at is the biggest issue that I run into when I'm interviewing professionals is we can see courses that run from a day to a week. With the WCO, are you looking at eventually certifying more future coaches as well? Is that going to be something that's going to lend towards the blockchain to have kind of a certificate of completion towards like a WCO coach or a WCO certified individual?
Got it. Definitely a possibility. I know the World Calisthenics organization already has their own thing going on with that. And so I am 100% cool to leave that to them because I feel they know best. And I want to just focus on getting as much sponsorship and funding as possible to throw events where girls can go and put everything that they've worked on to use and continue to level up as competitions go up and have that accountability of competitions, because I think that is a main factor that really helps people in fitness is having some kind of end goal to work towards.
I think that's such a beautiful way to put it. And I wanted to dig into a little bit more, transitioning into that same point of that end goal. I've heard a little bit about your role with Health Bank, and I kind of want to lead into that with your calisthenics, but tell me a little bit more about your role with Health Bank as well, from the accountability side, the HR sides. Johnny's told me you're kind of the jack of all trades, but I'd like to hear from your end how you've kind of tried to design that, end fitness goal in mind with both what you're doing and also with Health Bank.
Yes. So yeah, Health Bank, super exciting concept. I can 100% see how that will impact many people's lives. The way that I see that being applicable is having some kind of funneling system between people entering the organization, and then also having the opportunity to go and do Health Bank exercises and challenges to stay accountable to their own fitness goals. And my position with the Health Bank is being the human resources. So basically just looking at how we can continue to apply what the Health Bank is doing currently to a network of people that are willing to come in and get it done and be accountable to their goals, if that is the answer to your question.
No, I think that's a perfect way to do it. It sounds like with the onboarding side of things, you're going to be, super helpful from that end of things. What do you feel like defines a good end goal for individuals? I think that's the biggest thing that I always look at when I'm working with people. Do you feel like the end goal always relates towards a fitness goal, or what do you feel like is a good way to set up a goal for people that are onboarding into either Health Bank or working with you? Like, what does your setup look like for designing those goals?
I would say when I'm coming up with goals, it's more of creating a sustainable lifestyle where it's not really like you're constantly chasing something. It's that you're living day to day, and what you're doing, like the process is the ultimate goal. You want to have your process be like, you don't want to just be chasing goals all the time. You want to implement a sustainable process for yourself that is going to motivate you all the time. Like, for example, this organization has made me accountable to my goals all the time, because obviously how can I be the person running this organization if I'm not training myself to become the best version of myself? So still setting goals, of course. Like, it's always great to have specific, targetable, measurable goals to go for, whether that be doing a new skill or holding a new position or just losing weight and eating healthy. Of course, those are all great, but I think at the end of the day, it's only going to work in the long term if you create something that's sustainable for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like to take that angle and look at my fitness and wellness journey as a journey to preventable health. So like you said, it's not an end goal. It's something to create a a foundation long term, that I could get benefit instantly and could last, potentially the rest of my life. So yeah, totally agree with you on that.
Absolutely. And I think we've seen that with, I mean, the gym evolution has been insane with like Arnold came in doing all these steroids, and that was kind of the big obsession at the time. But then, 40 years go by and all these bodybuilders are dying young.
Yep.
And now Arnold's going vegan and promoting that. So I think that we need to change the game of what health is and what society views as quote unquote cool and what people are wanting to achieve. Because everyone just wants fast results, but really the most effective results you can have is when it's sustainable in your lifestyle.
No, you nailed it on the head. I'm always curious too. Have you found some big kind of tenets or rocks in your sustainable process that you do on a daily basis? Besides calisthenics on that side?
Yes. Sorry, what tenants aside?
Yeah, or sorry, I lost you on my mic. I got a new mic. So is there big things that you do throughout your day that you have found, kind of like you use the example of Arnold kind of changing his process? What are the biggest things that you during your day on a daily basis that you found helpful for yourself?
Recently, meditation.
Okay.
And going for walks, changing up my music, not over stressing about being crazy strict to my schedule. I mean, I think that's the one thing people probably wouldn't expect from me is that I don't have like a crazy schedule. I'm actually really chill, but I make sure that what I need to do that day gets done. But then other than that, like I'm just free to enjoy what I'm doing. If I'm feeling overwhelmed though, I'll usually do like a meditation or go to the gym, talk to my friends, keep a good small social circle of like quality people. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
No, I'm always trying to take different bits and pieces from people, so I appreciate that. Do you have a specific meditation app that you use, or is it just straight meditation from a YouTube video?
Oh, it's a YouTube video. It's been the same YouTube video for a while. It's just like 10 minutes daily meditation.
That's beautiful. Do you get bored from, I'm always curious because I get bored on the meditation side of things if I don't switch it up. Have you found the consistency is what drives that process for meditating every day?
For sure. Like meditation is supposed to be boring, and that's what makes it freaking hard because that's when discipline has to kick in. When things are boring, it's like, it doesn't matter. I'm finishing this. It's like, and I don't care if I'm bored or if I'm not into it, I need to finish this because I have to check this off my list to do today. So that's when discipline becomes so important.
Yeah, I remember when I first started meditating, I literally couldn't keep my eyelids like still. Like I would close my eyes, but they would be jiggling and up into the point to where I've meditated for over an hour a few times. So it's definitely, like anything else, it takes time and practice and effort to put it in. And, anything worthwhile or anything with excellent benefits is going to take a little work and a little effort. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
I've actually been playing around. This is for kind of both of you guys in the audience too, is some self-hypnosis side of things. Just because I found it's been better for me than meditation. They make actually a really great app for it. It's 10-15 minutes, but it kind of can get similar effects. The cool thing is though, is they found with the self-hypnosis that if you track it on an Oura ring, you can actually simulate deep sleep with it, similar to like a meditative state, but you can get down there in 10 to 15. But I do need to work on the patient side, but I'm pretty transparent. I think the biggest thing that I try to leave for everybody here is all of us healthcare practitioners, we all kind of have the same struggles as everybody else. So I think it's a good thing to kind of show the light of things that we can struggle with too. But no, I really appreciate that, sharing that, Janie. Any big things that you want to add to that side, Sean?
One thing
go ahead.
I was just going to add to that. And I think in our society today, we have I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with yin and yang, where yin is feminine energy and yang is masculine energy. And we live in very masculine, like yang focused energy where it's just go, go, go all the time. So it almost becomes a part where we have to be disciplined to like still work on yin energy, which is like meditation, all of that like slow stuff, so your brain's not overwired all the time.
Yeah.
And having too much yin energy can be associated with depression, but then having too much yang energy is associated with anxiety. So finding a balance for yourself throughout the day is like essential.
Yes, and hitting on the masculine and feminine aspect, it's the masculine energy, is putting out and the feminine energy is taken in. And it's kind of, I looked at it as meditation and prayer. Prayer is putting out and meditation is taken in. So I've always thought that was really cool in comparison to things.
Oh, cool. I haven't heard that before.
That's a really good way to put it. I haven't thought about it like that, Sean. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, looking at it beyond, beyond gender, as as she was talking about masculine and feminine energy, it's one puts out, one takes in. And, as prayer, we are focusing concentrated energy and we're putting out. Well, what we're doing when we're meditating, we're kind of, going in. So I kind of see, and we can see that on multiple dimensions of, pretty much everything in reality. So it's really cool. So
yeah,
one, which
when
is,
I say like in masculine energy, I'm not saying like because every human being has both.
exactly.
And I find obviously females often have a dominant on this like feminine energy, and that's kind of where the Women's Calisthenics organization comes in, because it kind of helps more females get in touch with their like yang energy and hopefully pull some girls out of some depressions and stuff like that, which is what I've found with the organization. Is a lot of the girls have had their own struggles, but then going through like our competitions or just working with me, they've like really come out of that dark time.
So I got a question. What is the future for 2023 of your organization? What are some things that y'all look to be doing for the year 2023? Or I guess now, between now and 2023, or after 2023.
That's a very exciting question. So I don't have any plans for the rest of this year, just because I just started a new career. I obviously keep growing our platforms when I have free time. But hopefully what I'm planning for 2023 is that our organization was invited to a women's empowerment conference that has women in business and then fitness, and it's going to be kind of like a fitness expo similar to the LA Fitness Expo that will be in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, March 5th. And we plan on setting up a bar rig there and holding a full tournament. So that is going to probably be an annual event. And then we have our other annual event, which is one-on-one battles in New York. So that's kind of the two events that we see to raise funding for and push athletes to start training.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Women's Business Empowerment Expo has been really great with raising funding for that as well. So
excellent. So how exactly did you get started in calisthenics?
Another fantastic question. So as I said, I was a competitive gymnast for 10 years, and I loved gymnastics for the time. It really helped me learn discipline and obviously a lot of foundations for the calisthenics I do. I have a lot of respect for girls that come into calisthenics that don't have the gymnastics background, because that's like, to me, I don't even know how I could have done that. And so I didn't enjoy the part of gymnastics that was so focused on perfectionism and coaches just being really hard on you all the time. And it kind of ruined my love for movement when I was just overthinking everything I was doing all the time. And so then I ended up quitting. And then I found calisthenics, and in freestyle, it doesn't matter if your toes are pointed, as long as you're landing the skill and it looks relatively similar to the technique, then you're good to go. And as a tall athlete myself, I kind of have my own way of doing things because I'm very flexible, but also tall, so I don't have as much power some of the time. So the beauty of calisthenics freestyle is that you can do the moves however you want and whatever works for you. And yeah, that's what I love about calisthenics. That's how I got into it. I got into the competing side. I was on a team in Toronto with like 15 guys here, and we went up to a competition in Montreal where I competed against the guys and beat about half of them. So that was a great experience. And then I had a video go viral on TikTok and Instagram from that competition. And then from there, everyone was just asking me to come and compete in Utah and Miami and then in LA. So I was like, oh, guess I'm going to start doing calisthenics and train for this. And I saw the opportunity because usually when these things happen and you see that it's an opportunity because no females, especially from Canada, were doing this. So I thought it would be even more worth my time and effort. So that's pretty much the gist of how I got into calisthenics. I can honestly talk about it all day. So
Nice.
No, I think that's such a cool story, and it's going to be exciting to see where you go with those things too. And I mean, the biggest question is like, can you beat Johnny as well? Like, if there's a battle, like, is there going to be a win?
Johnny,
Yes.
if you're let's battle.
Yo, I gotta say, seriously, it's funny because I'm gonna say something now since you brought me into this. Yes, she could. And you know what's funny is that she really is moving with grace, and it's inspiring to watch. And just hearing you guys kind of understand a little bit more about who Janie is just proves the whole point of why we know that she's the right woman to lead this whole organization forward as well. In the sense of, and she hasn't mentioned it, so I'm going to be the one that ruins the party and says it, spoils it. So she'll be the first head coach starting 2023, the first women's head coach of the challenges. So what Sammy is doing right now, she will be putting together her own fitness programs. Yep. And she will be the one helping hundreds of individuals get started coming around in January. And that's why her organization means so much to me, and the passion that she's putting behind it means a lot to me because, you know, when you meet people in person, everything's different, right? And you don't have to wonder about the screens. Can I vet this person out this way or that way? And, you know, it really comes down to the opportunities created by people like Brandon, the owner of the WCO, the World Calisthenics Organization, that said, hey, look, the next generation deserves a chance. And then we get inspired and we try to do our best to fight for the next generation, like Janie's doing and like what I'm doing, what you guys are doing. And, you know, it's just kind of like this snowball effect that once she gets the platform, as she did with her one video going viral where her whole life changed. Well, that's what we hope that this could do for her as well in her professional life, not just in her athletic career. And ultimately, she is a professional. She understands the craft and she's passionate about it. So to me, it's just the most perfect individual to bring this forward to the public. And now that you guys get to drill her and ask her the tough questions, that's why I don't even want to be in the middle of this. So Janie, thanks for inviting me to challenge me. I pass, but you could win.
I got to work on my front lever first, but hopefully.
No, I got to give it to you. Your strength and dynamics are incredible. And that's the whole point. We're going to be raising the level of what people perceive to be strong and now moving into grace and strength, which is calisthenics. It's beautiful movement that when a young girl sees it, she says, I want to do that. When a young boy sees it, he says, I want to do that. And if we can inspire people to follow in Janie's footsteps, to follow in Brandon's footsteps, to follow in Sean's footsteps, to follow in your footsteps, Eric, by getting them moving through calisthenics and bodyweight movements, which she already has her own app. Yeah. So she's already doing this. And this is what very few people do in the industry, is that they take on that responsibility to scale their ability to serve. And that's what she's done. And she only charges $1. Can you believe that? Jeez. It's not about the money.
The second month is $15 moving on, but
okay.
Thank you for your work.
That's still cheap. Like, tell us about that app. Because so I guess my background is I came from powerlifting. I came from the Arnold bodybuilding. Like, take me through your app because I'm new to the world to calisthenics on that side of things. So I'd love to hear more about this app on that side of things too, Janie.
Yeah, for sure. So I mainly target women just because I will coach men. Of course, I'm not like that at all. I just figure most of the time men like to listen to men and women like to listen to women and men. But so I mainly target women, but it's generic to everyone, of course. Basically, the app focuses on dynamics, statics, strength conditioning, flexibility, mobility, all of the essential kind of categories that you need to be a successful freestyle athlete. In dynamics, it's broken down into 3 levels. So I have a lot of skills in level 1 dynamics, and then level 2 dynamics, level 3 dynamics. So examples are like a bar hop where you're in front support on the bar, you cast your legs over, you do a 180, and then you catch it hanging is a level 1 skill. A dynamic kip, so kind of like a muscle up, but your arms are kind of straight. That's in level 1. And then level 2 is regular 360s, shrimp flip. Getting a little bit harder to level 3 is more like gangers and other dismounts. And in the workouts, you're kind of learning basic movements to learning it. So it's not all just crazy, scary stuff. It's all the progressions behind each of the skills, because ultimately that's what every single person has done to get there. Nobody has just learned skills overnight unless they have. But then even when they have, that's when injuries happen and you don't really learn the muscle memory that you need to learn these skills. And then for statics, it's kind of the same thing. I have level 1, 2, 3 statics. I kind of leave out planche and front lever, but other than that, I have a handstand category and other basic trainings for statics, as well as flexibility, which is also one of my strengths. So just like daily workouts and the recommendation of how you should be approaching these programs. So that's how I kind of structured the app. I've had many people go through it and have success, especially the girls that came to compete. A few of them had been using the app for a while. So that's kind of the beauty of it, is that they can use the app, train for the competitions. And I hope to be coming out with a scoring system to help women prepare for competitions even more. So yeah, a scoring system is really the next step here in 2023. I forgot to add that.
Oh, nice. So what is all involved in that scoring system? Because it's super cool watching. I went and checked TikTok for you, and I've seen Johnny do his things. What does the scoring look like?
So every organization kind of has their own version of scoring. Even in Russia and Europe, they have their own kind of ways as well. In North America, it's generally 50% statics, 50% dynamics. So when you're battling either in a tournament or one-on-one, you're being judged on dynamics, statics, overall creativity. So basically you'll have an athlete compete and see where their skills at with dynamics, and then you kind of compare it to the next person on their statics. So if one person is better at dynamics and the other person is better at statics, then it comes down to like who's better, but then good enough on the other side, and who didn't make the mistakes. So my scoring system that I'm going to be putting out and developing with our board of directors will be breaking down each skill and saying kind of which level each of these skills are at, so that when we have these situations of who's better by how much, we can go to the scoring system and see where the difficulty of each skill lie and see who did what, and then kind of take into consideration how much falls are worth. Because right now the scoring system's good, but a lot of it is a little bit amateur and up for debate a lot of the time, which is fine. We're still a fast growing sport, but I think it definitely needs to continue to develop, because you don't want to have upset athletes, or at least not have a good reason to explain why they didn't win. Because personally, that, if you're training so hard for a competition and you lose, you want to at least know what you need to work on and exactly what went wrong. So yeah.
No, that's going to be really exciting. I think that kind of leads into kind of what Johnny alluded to. How much of that is going to blend in to you as the coach moving forward on January 1st for the Health Bank Dow team? Is there going to be some elements that you're going to test some of that scoring with some of the individuals? Are you going to use that as a trial run, or is this going to be completely separate when you're coaching through the Health Bank side of things?
I think I'd like to keep it separate because
Okay.
when I'm coaching for the health bank, I'd like to keep it more inclusive and everyone can do it. Just because freestyle is like, it takes a long time, but I'm definitely going to have a lot of exercises that will help you build the foundations and strength to be able to learn, hopefully going towards trying skills yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good dichotomy to have. So I do want to transition to the health bank side because it's, again, I always leave a shout out to Johnny. Today was, you probably saw it as well, the beta test day one.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting. I think there was, I don't know, how many do we have, Johnny? 130 or 140, somewhere in there?
At the moment, it is 130, and out of those, 55 have officially logged onto the app and set things up, and 74 are still on there, patiently waiting for them to connect. So hopefully we can share this message and get them going. But yeah, no, thank you all of that have actually taken the time to participate and test the system. Obviously, sorry, we're trying to exactly what Janie's doing, being able to take her knowledge, put it out there for the world to be able to use so that they can grow themselves. And so the process that will, just to kind of give you guys a sneak peek as to kind of what we're doing, it has to be created in a way where coach has to create content on their phone locally, which then they have to store at a global level in a decentralized manner. So this means that there has to be a decentralized application which anyone in the world can connect to through their wallet, and they can upload a video to the IPFS. This is called a Web3 YouTube. And that application is what we've been building on the back end so that way you could attach a Web3 YouTube application to a to-do list in order to maximize the user's experience into what is now going to be called an NFT distribution mechanism. And so this is kind of the whole reason why we started with a fitness application, because when individuals or professionals like Janie and Sammy come into this space already knowing how to heal people, they just needed to have the right application to scale their ability to help and measure integrity. Well, they're the perfect individuals to bring this system over. And the reason why Janie is going to stand out amongst a lot of the people going through this challenge and even being introduced to it, it's really that she has that gymnastics perspective. And so it's elegant, it's disciplined, it's constructed in such a way where they prioritize human movement instead of intensity. And through the basic conditioning of these smaller muscles or fast twitch fibers versus, why am I blanking out? What's the opposite right now? Slow and fast twitch. So I don't know why I blanked. Obviously that was silly. But the whole point here is that gymnastic takes it to a whole new level where plyometrics becomes a standard of building muscle mass compared to static, as she said. And it all goes back to, can we teach the people our own systems of how we keep ourselves healthy? Meaning, can Eric teach him? Can Sean teach him? Can Janie really take, and she has, and she did, and she created her organization, which, by the way, I'm just going to address what that really means for her, because she went one step beyond a business owner. She didn't say, I'm just going to become a business. She says, I'm going to run an organization and I'm going to run it as an NFP. So now the reason that she plays such a big part in Health Bank is because I'm sorry, I'm no longer going to call her she, the Women's Calisthenics Organization is an NFP that can actually be a recipient of grants from the DAO. So this means our NFP can donate to her NFP, and therefore, if Health Bank DAO businesses are successful and they then choose to allocate some of their profits to Health Bank to have tax write-offs, then Health Bank has funding which it can allocate to these projects like the Women's Calisthenics Organization. Is that kind of making sense?
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
That's why when you say what kind of role is she playing, how is she's actually leading the way for NFPs to be able to follow. And she kind of set herself up by going through our lawyer. Our lawyer understands the entire plan because he understands the plan of Health Bank at its entire complexity. It makes it easier for him to guide others into how this all works. And this lawyer is always available for those business owners who are serious about taking their business to the next level. And I think, Janie, I want to thank you in public once again for always being able to go ahead and follow through on things that you say you're going to do. It's really cool. Just working with professionals, it's incredible.
Wow, thank you so much, Johnny. You're always hyping me up with the kind words, but yeah, ultimately that's my main goal, is to have this be my full-time job.
Okay. No, I think that's such an awesome, it's so cool. Like you probably say all the time with Johnny, he ties everything together in such a succinct way. And I think that's super important. What do you think your biggest roadblocks or struggles were as you were designing this NFP? I'm really curious on how you went about doing that.
So I'd say, to be completely honest, it almost came to me so easily and naturally, which wouldn't even make, like, it's almost like it already existed, but then I kind of just gave it a name. Okay. Because as soon as I started it, like, everyone just poured into it. It's like it was already a passion of so many people, and I was just kind of making a connected hub for it all. Because I think that was the whole reason that my video even went viral in the first place, is it wasn't the fact that I was doing, because it wasn't even that insane skills that I was doing. It's the fact that I was a female and I was competing in calisthenics, and that was very unheard of. And I guess that gave a lot of attention to me, and that's where most of my followers came from. And they're all kind of, when I was doing market research on figuring out who are these people that are following me, that's kind of the gist of what I was getting, is that people followed me because I was a woman in calisthenics. And then that's where I was like, hey, this is where my value proposition comes in. This is what I should be pursuing.
Wow. So you are pretty much like a trailblazer in your industry.
I'd say so, for sure. And it's not that I'm trying to be the sole dictator of all of this. Like, I have a group chat of 20 to 30 girls from across North America that I always kind of reach out to for their input, because I don't want it to just be entire, like, I want it to be a collective decision on how these things are going to come about.
Definitely.
And wait till you guys hear a little bit more about how she plans on raising funds to be able to do this. And that's going to be a little bit more for the next one, so that way we can obviously save her the trouble of having to spill all of her IP. But, you know, the important thing is that she is leveraging Web3 assets such as NFTs and tokens in order to be able to allocate opportunities for either sponsors or athletes to come on board and guarantee the exposure of their brands, guarantee that the athletes could be heard in a way that allows them to be able to then say that they were part of the organization. And more importantly, by being present at future events, or kind of like what she was just recently invited to for this Women Empowerment Conference. Now, she's allowing others to be able to witness what it means to be able to move without limits. In a sense, these athletes, they really don't stop challenging themselves to find the next version of themselves. What this ultimately means for businesses inside of Health Bank is that anytime either the Women's Calisthenics Organization hosts an event, or anytime that the World Calisthenics Organization hosts an event, there's always an opportunity for booth spaces to be acquired. And this all goes back for you guys, the vendors, the business owners of Health Bank, to be able to say, hey, man, I want to be seen right there next to that sport, because I want to be associated with the potential of a brand new world, because then you could present your business while you explain Health Bank as well. Now, this allows us to support these NFPs and these organizations by being able to provide them with the funding that they may need, let's say, to sell 5 booths, right? Because some places, some expos will say, yeah, we'll get you in, but you got to sell a certain amount of things, or you need this amount of money, and you can get that money, but if you got to sell some booth spaces. And that's why Health Bank is there, because I'm sure you guys all want to expose your businesses to the biggest vendors as well and the public. And so it's all a business at the end of the day of how we can put you guys in front of the people. But when you make money as a business, there has to be a way for you to drop that extra profit off where it benefits the world in a way that's guaranteed and managed by the people instead of by the government, because sometimes you just can't trust where it's going to end up. And so when Janie takes the initiative to create an NFP, I have to go ahead and say, I've seen what she stands for. I've seen what she could do, and I see how she's leading others forward. I would say that she's definitely someone that we should consider as an NFP to, you know, deposit our surplus of funds that may be kind of generated towards. But before we could do that, she herself has to go through an integrity test through Health Bank. And that's going to be the challenge. And that's going to be the next tier that Sammy is going through right now as a coach, where she will have to inspire 100 people to join. We will help her get 100 people to join. And out of those 100 people, if she can get 80% of those members, so that means 80 people out of 100 to finish, that means she is then considered a franchisable or a business that is approved to be able to receive grants either as a business or as a not-for-profit. That means the founder of that organization is willing to work hard for their own health in order to be able to receive a health reward NFT that they could stake with Health Bank, so that if Janie were ever to create a token for the women's calisthenics organization, which we know it's coming, it would have a backing mechanism created through the health rewards that she's earning with her NFT being staked. Does that kind of make sense? So it's not just a token that's minted out of thin air. It's her token's going to have a backing by a vault that's earning health tokens, which are backed by gold-backed assets. So hopefully that gives you guys a better idea of why Janie's just a big, big part to this puzzle.
Yep.
Definitely. And, you know, with that said, and what she's building out and what she's, you know, doing, you know, we're actually getting ready to launch our e-commerce store here in a couple weeks. And I would potentially like to talk to her more about working with her in that aspect and potentially offering benefits, you know, for exclusive members in the women's calisthenic organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to talk with you about that.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I guess bringing it back to it, I guess I'm really curious, and maybe you haven't thought of this far ahead, Janie, but like Johnny was saying, you know, having 100 individuals, maybe more, with an 80% completion rate. What are some of the biggest things that you found, whether it's through your app or coaching individuals, that can keep somebody on track digitally? Because I think that's one of the biggest things I've stepped into that role, is the digital side. Because obviously, as you're working with people in person, it's a little bit easier to keep them motivated. What are some of the biggest things you found from a digital only perspective that can keep people on that track?
I'd say community. That's definitely a big one. Having people, even if you've never met them before, like I think 2 years ago, I was like just talking to so many girls on the internet, just like, oh, awesome skill, or like we just follow each other because we had mutual respect for like the skill level that we both had. And it was until like 2 or 3 years later, and we'd meet up in LA, and I'd be like, oh my God, I feel like I've known you for so long. I can't believe this is the first time we're meeting. So finding people online to motivate you and inspire you and keep you accountable to your goals is the main way that like digital products, especially in the fitness industry, work, for that I've seen anyways.
Totally agree.
100% on that side of things. I got to wrap it through. Sean, do you got any big ones that you want to dig into a little bit?
Yes, I'd actually like to, I got 2 questions. Where did you get your business knowledge and experience from? we'll hit on that one next, and we'll go to the next one after that. So how I heard that you were saying that you're business savvy and stuff like that. So did you go to college for that, or did you just self-taught?
Yeah, I took a 5-year program at the University of Guelph for Bachelor of Commerce in Business. And then I also had a 2-year program that I actually had my well, at the time it was a company, and I had the company, which was what turned out to be the Women's Calisthenics organization. And I put that through the entrepreneurship program at our school. And I received grants and funding through that. And I also had like weekly meetings with a bunch of other mentors at the school. And that was a really big, helpful situation. And then I ended up making it a nonprofit organization because I saw that that would attract more opportunity and still potentially make me employed full time as well. So that's kind of where my business background comes from, as well as like my family. My dad owns his own company. My aunts and uncle have just been a big inspiration as well. We all kind of just talk business all the time. I kind of grew up around it, and I just like the idea of talking about new ideas and new projects all the time. So
yes,
yeah.
that's what a lot of powerful people do, is love talking ideas, for sure. And one more question is, I'm always curious about people's journeys, but could you name one book that inspired you and actually helped where you are today, starting this journey? Doesn't necessarily have to be a calisthenics book or a business book. Could be just any type of general book.
I find it really funny you say that, because I just started rereading this book for probably the 5th time. It's called The Power of Now. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but
I actually have that book myself.
Yeah, I didn't grow up a religious person, and I don't really see myself as attached to religion, but I am a bit spiritual, and I think that The Power Now kind of made the most sense to me in understanding what religion's really trying to get at, minus some of the propagandas that go on. But The Power Now is just a great book, and really great for like manifesting things, whether that be business or just inner peace. So yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite books as well, for sure. One book right now that was the one that changed my life, the one that flipped the switch, is the Master Key System. I mean, check it out. It's not like a storytelling book. It is a book of just straight information, how you work, how we operate, et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to know the Master Key, check out the Master Key System. Very, very powerful
Right now.
Yes. Usually you get, they got it all over, but I mean, if you really want to work on yourself, not generally speaking on you, but to the audience, if you want to flip that switch, take that step, start focusing on yourself and really start to upgrade, check out the Master Key System and The Power Now. Both of those books combined can definitely change one's life for sure. Eric, since we're on books, what's a powerful book for you?
There's two. Well, like Janie was saying, I have one that I really go back to a lot. Mastery by Robert Greene is one of my favorite books. It's on the talk of, I had to read it for an internship. So it was talking about the internship and the apprenticeship process and how you should actually be an evolution from an internship or a mentor, and understanding that dichotomy and role transition. That's one of my favorites that I have right now. And then I'm also just finishing, what was it? Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. So that's just kind of what I'm on right now. So I love listening to kind of those two big ends of the spectrum, but Mastery is one that I would highly recommend for anybody. And interns that I have moving forward are required to read it like I was at my previous internship, because it's such a powerful book to read by Robert Greene.
Wow. Yeah, seriously. I mean, with those 3 books, anybody listening, I guarantee you, if you go buy those 3 books, read them, your life will change, your outlook will change.
Can I add one more?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead and bring it.
I got it's called Neurodynamics.
Let's go.
The Art of Mindfulness in Action by Theodore Diamond. He changed the game with this one. If I could say it, like the moment you read this one, you understand how everything that you do is just the art of mindfulness. And if you become a practitioner of that, like I guess it's a secret key, but to me, that changed the game and helped me understand how to rebuild myself and others. And that's actually one of the questions I wanted to ask Janie, if I could. What was your worst injury and how did you bounce back from it?
My worst injury was I dislocated my left ring finger doing a backflip 360. This wasn't even calisthenics. I was just tumbling. I did a backflip 360, put my finger literally into the ground and looked at it, and it was completely sideways. And my initial thought was like trying to like put it back into place, but then I didn't want to accidentally make it worse. So went to the hospital. Took 2 hours for them to take an X-ray, and then they popped it back in. And I was supposed to go to Miami 2 weeks later, and I decided nothing was going to stop me from going to Miami. And even though my finger was pretty much really shouldn't have been using it, I went to Miami and still did everything that I wanted to do anyways, like 2 weeks after it was put back into place. So that was kind of my worst injury. The finger still doesn't straighten properly to this day. I probably eventually have to get it rebroken to straighten. I definitely know people have a lot worse injuries than me. I've been pretty fortunate with that. I usually play it safe when I'm training for the most part. Like I do every single progression possible in every way before I eventually do the skill, and when I'm like 100% confident in it, and not when people are just yelling at me. Like I think that's one of the big things, especially in calisthenics, and that's when people get hurt, is when they let the hype take over and they lose track of like what's actually going on, and that's when the injuries happen. And although it's nice to have hype, sometimes it's kind of distracts you from what your inner self is saying, and you might lose your intuition a little bit there. But that is probably my worst injury yet.
Wow, I definitely like your drive. I mean, that mindset is how incredible things happen when you have that type of mindset, for sure.
I agree. And I think you guys are starting to kind of see why, along with Nani and Janie, I think the team is really building a great, strong base of what it means to carry on the definition of health, regardless whether you're a man or a woman. You get the chance to experience it because these are individuals that are constantly pursuing the best version of themselves. And proof of health, obviously, that's really what the topic of discussion is. And to me, that's kind of what I think friendships are in a way. When you look at the proof of health, is can we remember each other, the ability to keep each other accountable to this proof of health, right? Because we want to see each other evolve. Like I want to remember Eric when he didn't really understand Web3, and then all of a sudden he does remember it. But you know, even when he's 10 years into blockchain, I still hold him accountable to the level of health that we expect him to have. And regardless of wealth, it's about the health. And I wouldn't want, you know, Sean to become rich and then all of a sudden become overweight, because then I lost the friendship that we really built this upon, you know. And that's proof of health, because as I look at Janie, at what she's pursuing to do, as she said, she had to raise her own level of how she played if she was really going to lead these other groups of you know, communities at the end of the day, because these women from different areas of the world were looking. And so all of us have to start looking at how can we leverage technology to lead smaller communities, maybe even locally, but still get our message across, because that is health. Digital proof of health is when we create systems of how we think that health could be operated or scaled if we were to teach our own way. And most people, they'll be willing to tell you on a call, but very few people are willing to scale it through movements or blueprints or PDFs or books. And so the moment that our entire community is inspired to write books, to be able to write daily blogs, this is the type of thing that Health Bank DAO will constantly be reposting, right? It's who wrote this, who's behind this, because Health Bank could actually stand behind those individuals because they fought to get through those gates. And so really, when you look at what Health Bank is doing, as much as it is a decentralized healthcare fund, because of people like Janie, Brendan, yourself, Eric, yourself, Sean, you know, and even individuals like Harley who are coming out of literally these projects that he himself were not 100% sure of, but he's redefining the layers of trust for future communities, because that is essentially what proof of health is how do we maintain our systems of trusting each other so that when we go to sleep at night, we don't lose sleep thinking about our friendships, the proper ones. That can cause you to lose sleep, even at the subconscious level, if you don't make the right friendships, if you don't make the right, decisions to self, just like working out. This weighs down on you internally, spiritually, whatever you may want to call it. But at the molecular level, all of us have this drive, and that's why you guys are here. And I truly can't thank you guys all for jumping on this call, making sure that we can listen to Janie's story, which I've been a big fan of. Harley had a chance to meet her as well when we were out there for the LA Fitness Expo. We were given a beautiful opportunity by Brendan and the World Calisthenics Organization. So today, as you guys can see, everything continues to come together in different ways. But do you guys feel like you understand Janie a little bit more? Should we leave it open for others to ask questions?
Yeah, like I said, I wanted to thank you, Janie, for everything. Like, you came on a Sunday night, so I really appreciate that time. Like, that's super important to Sean and I that you come on a Sunday night, because that's not something that we take lightly. But yeah, tell us how we can reach you, and then we'll or kind of your socials, where people can find you, and then we'll leave it open to the rest of the group to reach out for any questions that they may have for you.
Awesome. So yeah, my Instagram handle is janie.stel, along with TikTok is also janie.stel. My organization is found on Instagram, women's_calisthenics_org. And then my website is womenscalisthenics.org, or the organization's website is womenscalisthenics.org. Definitely check it out. The website has the after movie of our previous competition, which was honestly so unreal. All of the girls are still so motivated to keep training. I've been watching them training since the competition, and they've all been leveling up like crazy. And yeah, I think honestly the 10-year goal for the organization is to honestly take gymnastics to the ground. I like to see this become another option for young women to not have to do gymnastics, but still be able to pursue their love for movement in a different way. And obviously gymnastics is a gigantic industry with massive sponsors and funding, and that's when it starts to become fraudulent, as I'm not sure if you guys have heard of all of the fraudulent things that happen in gymnastics, which is honestly like a lot of sports that go on. And that's one of the beautiful things, decentralization systems like blockchain, is that it's giving the power back to the people who actually do it. There is a big separation between athletes and business people, because not a lot of people understand it, especially athletes. Honestly, usually are just having the athlete mindset. It's a lot to be an athlete, but to actually understand how all the other stuff works so you don't become a puppet is also very important, I think, in today's society.
Holy cow.
100%.
You just dropped the mic.
Yeah.
It could drop the mic. I'm telling you, I'm going to take a snippet of that, and it's going to go viral. And the whole team is going to make sure that we can help you go viral with that little snippet again. But this time as a businesswoman in the tech world, because that's what you are, Janie. And seriously, thank you for everything you're doing. You're helping us inspire and open the minds of many people across the world. And, it really just comes down to that. Is like, are you willing to make a little bit of a difference that can then be something that others could talk about and make some noise? That noise is going to reach somebody's ears, and those ears, you never know who they might be. But I'm glad that you were able to really give us your time, and I'm done talking. So does anybody have any questions? Because I'll keep going.
I think I'm good. How about you, Dr. Krueger?
I'm good. Harley, you got anything?
No, I think I'm good. It was a beautiful interview, and I'm glad to get a little bit more of the backstory of Janie. I'm excited to see how she's able to integrate into Health Bank.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to work with you guys. It's been a pleasure.
Definitely. I think what you're doing for the women out there with this new sport is really awesome. And I commend you on everything that you've done and that you're about to do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Janie. Like I said, if you ever need anything, reach out to any of us here. Like, it's so nice to get to know you. Like, we're here to help you in any way possible. Like, we're all open books. So reach out to us on Telegram or anything else now that we kind of gotten to finally connect with you.
For
Okay.
sure. Awesome.
Thank you guys. If you guys are all good, this has honestly been such a pleasure. What you guys can expect, and in the next 5 seconds, this will end. So I hope the rest of your night goes well. We're done in 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.